What is up, people? Welcome to the #1 channel in East and Central Africa that brings you great and epic motorcycle content many have come to love. Do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you're updated whenever we post a new episode. Now, we just hit and surpassed 1,000 subscribers and we are forever grateful, and for that we decided to have a giveaway. We are giving away a brand new helmet and some other goodies, so there's a link down in the description that will show you the steps to follow in order to win. Now, today's episode is all about the Karizma. Now, the bike has been provided to me by Nairobi Motorcycle Bazaar. They are not paying me in any way just to say this, but they are friends of the channel. So, and they are right now they are located at Kugerio Court, Ralph Bunch Road, off at Valley Road. Now, we do have the 2014 Hero Karizma. That's a 223cc single-cylinder 4-stroke engine that produces 20 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and a torque of about 19.7 Newton meter. Now, the bike is both air and oil cooled with a 5-speed gearbox transmission, and the whole engine is encased in the diamond frame chassis with conventional suspensions, of course. Anyway, the front telescopic shocks and a gas charged twin dampers at the rear. Now, the bike bears a 276mm and a 240mm disc brakes at the front and at the rear respectively, although the bike could use some better braking systems, as I found them to be quite lacking in a way. Now, down to the styling and the ergonomics of the bike. Now, the bike is a bit sportier compared to your normal naked bike. For example, the TNT 250, you are going to be a bit pushed forward slightly, but not as extreme as a sport bike. Now, the rider triangle is quite subtle and comfortable as you don't get tired as much, although I did feel some slight weight on my wrists, but that's something that you quickly adjust to. Now, the functionality of the bike is that despite its sporty looks, it has been termed as the most economical bike in its class. It has said that the Karizma does sip fuel, and which makes it of course a plus, considering that the rise of fuel prices, especially in Kenya. Now, the slim nature of the bike does make it look of course quite appealing and small and light, which total weight is about 157 kilograms. Now, this is termed as a perfect sport tourer / commuter, as you wouldn't have to spend much in terms of fuel without compromising power. Well, we are talking in the sense when we compare it to a bigger bike or other bikes in its class. Now, its mileage is estimated to be about 45 kilometers per liter, which is quite similar to the TNT 150. So I guess in this case, more power and less fuel is quite actually something that you'll be looking for. Now, the bike is fuel injected, so there's no need to worry about the bike not being able to start after a cold day, maybe a rainy day, or even after a wash. Now, the estimated top speed of the bike is estimated to be around 129 kilometers per hour. Now, the dash does come with an all-display screen which shows you all the information that you might need, well, except for a gear indicator. Well, I'm not sure if it had a gear indicator or not. I don't quite remember, but all in all, it does show you a lot of things. Anyway, I did ride the bike in the city traffic and it performed exceptionally well. Well, its small stature made it very easy for me to squeeze in and lane split comfortably. Now, the soft buzz of the engine wasn't too much of a hassle, although you might consider installing a pipe to make it a bit more pronounced. Remember, sometimes loud pipes do save lives. Now, I did love the suspension, especially the rear one. I barely felt any bumps on the road as they were quite soaked in nicely. Now, the bike has been nicknamed the Vibrator for reasons I do not know, but your guess is as good as mine. So how does a bike compare to the rest in this class? Well, in this case, we do have the Zontes 200J, the TNT 250, the Dayun 200J, and the Zontes 250V, and of course, we can't lack to put in the Jincheng 180 so far, because those are the bikes that we have reviewed on this channel. Now, I will just touch on some generalizing factors so as not to make this video a bit long. So when it comes to fuel economy, I do think that the ZMR does top it all off, of course, with its 45 kilometers per liter range. And then the second I would say is the Benelli TNT 250, that it has a 35 kilometers per liter. And then the rest I would it would be ZMR, then the Zontes 250V, which has a huge huge tank of about 20 liters, so of course you'll get a better mileage from that. Then followed by the Benelli TNT 250, and then the rest will follow. Now when it comes to weight, this one will actually be taken by the Zontes 200J. I don't quite remember how many kilograms it did weigh, but it was a bit lighter. If not, they were quite head to head with the ZMR. Now of course we do have the Zontes 200J at the top, followed by the Karizma Honda ZMR, then followed by the I would say the Jingcheng 180. Then finally we do have the Dayun 250, the Dayun 200J, and then finally being the heaviest of them all, we do have the Benelli TNT 250. Now when it comes to maneuverability, I would say also the Zontes 200J does take the top, followed by the TNT 250, then the Zontes 250V, and then finally the Karizma, then at the last of it all being the Dayun 200J. Now when it comes to this one, was quite a bit tricky when it came to comfort wise. Now for this one we are going to be looking in terms of the rider triangle. We are going to be looking about the ergonomics and also how the bike would feel on a long distance. Now mind you, all these bikes takes a bit of learning, or rather getting used to. So according to me, I would say the most comfortable one would be the TNT 250. For reason it has an upright posture. The rider triangle is quite subtle and very well made and neutral. Then we would say, then followed by the next one might be hand in hand, the Zontes 200J and the Dayun 200, and also the Zontes 250V. And then finally we do have the ZMR, but like I said, everything is all up to getting used to. Now the rest is majorly on the preference of the rider, and there isn't very much to discuss there, as comparing such things would be a bit difficult, but like I said, it will depend on the rider. Now here are some of the things that I did not like about the Karizma ZMR. Now first of all is its looks. Now I know they say the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, but for my eyes I wasn't quite drawn to it. Even when I was in search of a bike, this one didn't quite appeal to me as much. Secondly, it is small stature. Now I'm not a fan of skinnier bikes. I like them big, like how I like my women, and then this one was no exception. Now the small stature does have its perks, but when compared to other bikes, it does seem quite small. Secondly were the brakes. Now having come from the standards of a Benelli, I did find the brakes to be not to bite as hard as they should have, or rather as I'm used to, but they did manage to stop in time. Secondly was the unavailability, or rather scarcity, of the major parts of the bike. Now they can be found, but not as easily and of course very accessible. And lastly was its tires. Now the bike tires are quite skinny and small, which made me feel quite uncomfortable, especially taking the corners. Now I would have wished if they came with an at least 130 at the rear, but so far I'm not quite sure if you can actually change the rear tire, but so far those were the only faults that I did manage to find. So once again, who is this bike intended for? Now the Hero Karizma is sort of termed as a sport tourer, as it's neither here nor there. Now people seem not to be fancied by it, including myself. One, because of its looks, and in my opinion the previous version is sort of better looking than this one. Secondly is a bike is made for that person who is on a budget. Now when we term this on a budget, we mean this is for the person who doesn't want to stress over fueling every now and then because of the huge displacement of the bike. And also this is someone who is looking for the looks, and then also not someone who is not looking for the discomfort of a sport bike, and also somebody who's looking for a cheap bike. Now the Hero Karizma can be considered as a beginner bike, as it's not as fast and can get you anywhere that you want without much strain. Now you can get them cheaply from as low as 160,000 Kenya shillings, and if you're in the market for one, do check out Nairobi Motorcycle Bazaar. They do have some of them on sale as well. And I guess that's it for my review. Was this video helpful and informative? If so, let me know in the comment section below. I do love reading and replying to all your comments. And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Rico the Gearhead, and there are also some nice perks if you do out there. Also remember, we're also giving away some new helmets and some other goodies, including some t-shirts and maybe even a voucher. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, ride safe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.